Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man DJ Ronnie Rod here with you. Hey, RYC Praise Sound Session. That's right, repping your city, giving God all the praise. We got a great hot show for you coming up in a few minutes. So hey, you all get ready for that. Spread the word. All right. Other than that, hey, we're going to thank our sponsors and advertisers for those coming on board and helping us out. And again, if you're interested in wanting to advertise your music, you know what I'm saying? If you're a business or if you're an author, what have you, go visit musicindustrymakeover.com. All right, go visit us and you can see all the platforms that we have to offer because, again, we create the platforms and we put you in front of the right people as we control the exposure because that's what we do. All right. Oh, yeah. So, hey, other than that, hey, we'll be back with our awesome artists that we're going to be talking with, man. Hey, you all don't want to miss this show for real. All right. I'm serious. Man, I don't care what kind of event it is. As long as Blacky Sauce is in the building, the food is going to be right. That's what I'm talking about. Order yours today.
Hey everybody, Joanna Lauer here. As a singer, an actress, and a Christian, I know just how important social media can be. It's a place where you can network and connect with new people, keep in touch with friends and family, you can promote your business and even spread the gospel. But social media can also be a place of negativity, stress, posts and images that believers just don't want to see. The solution? Savior Connect. Savior Connect is a brand new social media platform specifically designed for believers. Much like other social media sites, you can create your own free profile, add pictures, posts, and links, all without having to worry about seeing worldly images and messages. Savior Connect is the place where believers from all over the world can get connected. To create your profile, go to SaviorConnect.com today. Savior Connect, the Christian social network.
Hey, again, I want to thank all our advertisers and sponsors on there, okay? Again, thank you all so much for helping making this happen. Go to musicindustrymakeover.com, okay? It's up under the umbrella of the Music Industry Networks, LLC. So, hey, this is what we do and giving God all the praise for everyone that's coming on board and making things happen. All right, hey, well, without further ado, I want to bring this young man to Sound Sessions, RYC Praise. Man, I've known him since 2005 when I met him. And we're actually going to talk about that. So because he's put out some great music, and he's an attorney as well too. Yes, which you know what? Without further ado, I knew him as the Red Baron, but hey, I want to bring Mr. Timothy Welbeck to the stage. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, DJ Ronnie Ryan? And thank you for having me on today. It's great to see you today.
Hey, man, likewise, man. I haven't seen you since 2005, brother.
I can't believe it's been that long, but yeah. I was.
Oh man, I tell you, wow. I mean, and when I first met you, so it was at a showcase in North Carolina.
That's right,
man. And you had did a song called "Beautiful."
And you have a great memory. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Was it in Greensboro?
In Greensboro, yep.
I remember I came with my college roommate and a friend of mine, and we drove up that day, did the showcase, and went back to Atlanta that night.
All right, man. Well, look, you know what? Hey, man, you've been putting out some great music since then.
Thank you.
Man, I forgot to mention, hey, rep your city. Where you from, bro?
So I was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Alpharetta, Georgia, and for the last 15 years or so, I've been in the Philadelphia area.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, look, man, what a migration, man! I tell
It
you.
is. It is a migration. It really is like God's providence. I mean, I'm a Southerner of Southerners, born in Tennessee, raised in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
I went to law school in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area. That's what got me in the Northeast. And I thought I
Okay.
was going to go to law school there and then come back to Atlanta, but God had other plans, and I've been up here like a
Man.
decade and a half now.
Wow, 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 man. Well, you know what? Hey, one of my favorite joints by you is Southern Comfort, man. And
Oh man,
oh, hey, man, that still hits hard, man.
thank you. I appreciate the support all these years. That's one of my favorites of mine too. I had the great pleasure of working with Lisa McClendon on that.
Yes, yes.
I've been a fan of hers since I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
and my producer at the time had a connection with her, and I
Mm-hmm.
told him as I was making the album that song was on, I would love to work with Lisa McClendon. He said, I've produced for her before. I
Mm-hmm.
can't make any promises, but let's make a song and see if she likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was gracious enough to appear on it. Bless the song. It's still one of my favorites as well.
Man, it's a classic, bro. It's timeless, man. I like one of the lines in there you're talking about before. It's with Malcolm. Hey, I'm more like Malcolm.
Yeah.
In my rhymes, man. And
that's right. That's really a mantra of my life. That line says, "I'm more like Malcolm when I say in my rhymes, the glorious skies, the mistakes are mine."
Yes, that was. Oh man, I love.
When I was reading his autobiography, that's the last line that he has before you get to the epilogue, and that struck me. And I said, I feel the same way. Any success you see in my life, anything that's noteworthy, the glorious guys, the mistakes.
Come on. Yes, man. Yeah, I read it. I read it as well too, and I'm glad you put that in there, even with the audio, the actual audio clip of him in your song, man. That was like, well, I mean, because hey, Malcolm was a genius and all, and so again, I thank God for him. Yes, man. Oh, again, hey, we're talking with Timothy Welbeck. All right, and again, this is information right there. You say you study law, so you are an attorney, man. What kind of attorney are you?
So I'm a civil rights attorney. For the last 4 years, I've been practicing civil rights law for an organization called CARE.
Mm-hmm.
And I defend the constitutionally protected rights of those who've been discriminated against on the basis of their religion, their sex, their race, national origin, creed, things like that. Beautiful. I've been practicing law a little longer than that, but that's been my concentration the last 4 years. I also teach too. I'm a professor at Temple University. I'm an assistant professor there.
Wow.
I like to say I'm bivocational in that way.
Man, look at you, man. I'd say, hey, man, you started as a rapper, now you done added on more to your personal, man. Oh, that is amazing, man. Congratulations there, Culture King. Man, you are a culture king, man, because again,
thank you. Praise God.
Man, oh wow. Okay, so man, a professor at Temple University. Hey guys, go out and get your education. You know what I'm saying? Hey, hey, I teach in the school system as well. You know what I'm saying? Market education and things. So
it's so important because so many times in our communities we like to say things like I'd rather have a 3rd grade education and know God than have a PhD and lose my faith. And a lot of us are afraid that if we educate ourselves, we'll lose our faith. But any faith that's not tested is not firmly held. And
there you go.
Some of these environments are not very welcoming to our faith, but if you know God coming in, He can keep you, He can sustain you. And this information is not necessarily an affront to the faith, but they can be tools that you can use in the marketplace.
Come on, man. Well spoken. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with being educated. I think they feel that, well, the more educated you get, then it's like, well, you won't rely upon God. So like, but you know what? I think that's a conscious decision that you have to make. All right. Because God gave us this brain for a reason.
Yes. One of my mentors once said, I believe God gave us a brain and expects us to use it.
There you go. I mean, it is here, right? It all comes from Him anyway. Everything comes from God. So yeah. Oh wow, man. We definitely salute your success that God has blessed you with, and you definitely be an inspiration to others out there. Now again, now far as with music, are you planning on doing any more music or so?
It's so funny you ask. I am working on an album right now.
Okay.
So I just released the first song from it. It's called We Culture. and it's celebrating West African culture and chiding those who appropriate it. The album is called The Cost of Living, and it talks about the work that it takes to live authentically with things competing for our time, attention, and affections. And it lands on the idea that the real work is at home, the true work is inward. And so often, we work these jobs and they fill most of our days, and we define ourselves by what we do. But really, the real work is internally, and how are you navigating this terrain? How are you allowing God to let you be the best version of yourself? How are you giving glory to Him? Who are you beyond what you do? So the album talks a lot about that. And I tell some personal stories for myself. I talk about my journey to fatherhood. Me and my wife, actually. So me and my wife, we have 3 children now, thank God.
Beautiful family, by the way. Yes.
Thank you. We lost who would have been our first child on Father's Day.
Oh man.
And so that was a crushing loss. But not only did God comfort us, but we were blessed with our oldest daughter almost a year to the day the next year. And then we've been blessed with 2 other children after that. And I ended up baptizing my oldest daughter on the morning that Kobe died. And so,
wow.
And so I was just struck by the parallels of us being with our daughters in that time and spending time with us and measuring the frailty of life. So I have a song talking about that. And it's called Father's Day. And it talks about that whole journey. I have a song talking about how my parents met. I got encouragement for hard times. I got a song about that. I got a song talking about how I came to love my West African heritage and just came to understand that I'm an African in America, and America don't want us here.
Come on,
but I'm not from Ghana either. I was not raised there, so I'm from a place I am of but not from. So just thinking about that. So the album talks about a lot of that, and so I'm actually gearing up for the release as we speak. I'm actually planning to make an announcement later today about all of that. So it's so funny you ask that. Do I have new music coming? The answer is yes.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to see one of them called We Culture.
That's right.
So the video. Okay, awesome. Right here on Sound Sessions. And hey, we'll be back right after this. Check it out, y'all.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Timothy.
But we culture. Rap the new rock and roll. We culture. Rap is the new rock and roll. We the rock stars.
We culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who we are is ours. You can imitate, but what is in our heart is culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who we are is ours. You can imitate, but what is in our hearts. You love our culture, hate our people. Doubles vulgar, imitate what we do. Lunch on hors d'oeuvres against the thing that feeds you. Grinning and sinning while we give you the things you feast to. We talk drums to talk, hummed in walls, sung without pause, even when hummed in mall. The change you gave couldn't constrain our songs, and when we sang our song, the world sang along. So you see these things on TV screens, your children perceive these themes, believe in we see somewhere in America mildly twerking. Under that mascara, kindly wanna be a black person. Puckering their lips, shuddering their hips, lining their purses till it suits their purpose. Being black adjacent might take you places, you can imitate it, you can't duplicate it. We culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who we are is ours. You can imitate, but what is in our heart is culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who we are is ours. You can imitate, but what is in our heart is.
I said we want war to all the men equal. This our story. I see through y'all sequel. You build walls and seats on our steeple. Still we fly with the world with our sequel. Power to the people, knowledge to the people. See our stars and scars with some diesels. Paint a picture, grab an easel. We the life source, you the fecal fall. We are, and it's pretty bizarre how they still being awed by the new black czars. Kings and queens and finer things. Little kids in the hood that can rhyme and sing, they take it, but they don't do it too well. And they try to dip sets from the real jewels, our bodies. Where they used to throw stones, now they in the gym trying to keep up with the Jones.
We culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who we are is ours. You can imitate, but what is in our heart is culture. We the real rock stars. You take what we make and try to say it's not ours. We culture. Who who we are is art you can imitate, but what is in our heart? Y'all act like a show of finest, promise approval. But like with the bro Giannis Antetokounmpo, we're known as the freak. In every lake of palm we do, go Roman outcast like Antoine and Andre Duno. No, you can't go with bronze or the rock, the skin tone. You can wash off that tan and still harm my kinfolk. If you pound the replay, know who calls the tempo of the artist and the art. It can all be so simple. You can't have our rhythm without our blues. That's what all of this is amounting to. If you don't move your feet, then we don't eat with three speaks. It's true, but the only feet as you move your feet is the wrong movement that you choose. We think a thing or two when you proceed to sing our tunes. See the people too when they sweep you out your shoes and when those hips are swaying. Whenever you play it, know you can imitate it. You can't duplicate it. We
Man, I love it. I love it, man.
Thank you.
Man, nicely done. Well put together video.
Thank you.
I love the animation there, man. Oh man.
The animation was done by an artist in LA. His name is Aaron Archie. I met him on social media. He did an excellent job with that, and I did the subtitles and then added some of the other people that you see and things like that, and so pulled it together like that.
But man, that was phenomenal job there. You know, I like the one line you said, yeah, you can't have our rhythm without our blues. So
yes.
Man.
Yes.
Oh man, I love man. How important is it for us to know our heritage, our own culture?
So I would just begin as believers that we were created in the image of God, and not only were we created in the image of God, but God made us uniquely. And part of who we are is our point of origin and our cultural heritage. The Bible talks about in Revelations that there will be a great multitude of people from all nations of the world in heaven. And that means that we retain some of that when we go to heaven. And if God honors and acknowledges that, we should too. And so
Amen.
But beyond that, but we specifically as Black people in America must connect to our point of origin in Africa because we've been denied that. That's what the transatlantic slave trade did. It denied us of our heritage, our language, our culture, our names, and us being disconnected of that. We don't know not only who we are, but we are lacking, and sometimes in terms of a collective identity. Sometimes we don't move together the way that we should, and we don't always value ourselves the way that we should because we've had 400 years of degradation and denigration where we've been told that we are subhuman, that we're property, that we're less than. And if we knew who we were, we would never believe that lie and the lies that come with it. So I think it's so important that we understand who we are, that we come from somewhere. And even one of the things that I talk about with this video is just that people say Black people in America don't have culture, but people are always trying to take our culture. If we didn't have no culture, people would be trying to take it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody want to be Black until it's time to be Black for real. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, they want to take our aesthetic, they want to take our joy and our rhythm, but they don't want the blues and the melancholy that comes with the experience of being Black. And so that's what the song is about.
Man, such a phenomenal song that needs to be in all history classes too, in which I do plan on taking the practice to pass that so I can teach history. Because I love history and especially our African American history.
It's
and
so
yes,
important.
we definitely need to know that more than anything. All right, and there's more to Martin and Malcolm, Harriet Tubman, Frederick. We have a rich history.
We have a rich history, and every phase of American history has been impacted by Black people in America. Every single phase of history. There is no America without the contributions of Black people. From the pre-colonial era to the current day, every single phase and advancement in American history has had some contribution, spoken or unspoken, said or unsaid by Black people. And we don't always get to teach that history. People like to water it down. Now there are direct attacks against trying to teach that history. And that's what all this foolishness that we're hearing about right now in the news is about. But it's real, it's authentic, and it's out there. So we just have to be better about knowing it and teaching it to other people. So I'm so glad that you're making the preparations to do that too.
Yes, I definitely want to do that, because again, even my mom, she didn't even know about Juneteenth. So and I'm like, wow, and then what's this issue that's coming out, or I guess it's been out for us, what, critical race theory or so?
Oh my goodness. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. So I'll try to be brief about that, 'cause I could talk all
Hey
day
man,
about
take your
that.
time.
Okay. So what I will say is that the opposition, the stated opposition that we see to critical race theory is a bad faith argument to mischaracterize what is critical race theory, and so that people can stop the anti-racism education that became popularized in the wake of the death of George Floyd. If you'll remember last summer, after the murder of George Floyd, almost every major corporation in America made an anti-racism statement. Ibram Kendi's book became a bestseller, as did other anti-racism type of texts. There was a concerted backlash from the conservative-leaning portion of America that said, we have to stop this. And so for the last 2 years, but really it intensified in the last 12 months or so, people are saying we need to rally people around a vocal point. And critical race theory became what they were rallying around. Critical race theory is a legal framework of analysis. It's only taught in law school, and it's rarely taught in law school. I had to take special classes in law school to learn about critical race theory. No
Wow.
one is teaching critical race theory to children. The argument that I give is kind of like saying, I don't like Common Core math, so I say, stop teaching my child quantum physics. Well, quantum physics and Common Core math are not the same, and nobody's teaching a third grader quantum physics. It's the same type of thing. But basically what critical race theory is a legal framework to analyze the intersection of power and the law, and how racial classifications and power dynamics play into all of that. Because what happened in the post-civil rights era, people were saying that the law is objective and that the law doesn't see people, the law is colorblind. So, but people of color and women were saying, but the law still disproportionately impacts us in negative ways. And it's not as open as it was during the civil rights era and before, but we still see it. And so different legal scholars started coming together and said, let's find tools to analyze some of the subtle ways that racism is still embedded in our power structures. And they started talking about it. And so
Right.
so they developed this framework. So, but all these people talking about critical race theory, what they're really trying to say is, we don't want an honest account of American history. We don't want anti-racism education in our schools. We want to preserve this myth of America being a divine Christian nation that exalts whiteness and normalizes it. And so they're mischaracterizing what critical race theory is in an effort to do that. Because if you ask some of these opponents what critical race theory is, they can't define it. They haven't read the text of these people. And even some of the people like who say that they're experts, who say they oppose critical race theory, they'll go on TV, like Dr. Mark Lamont Hill has a show on BCN, and he's had several of them on, and they come on trying to debate him, and they all leave looking silly because they haven't read the text. They don't know the materials.
Ignorance.
But they have made talking points that they know speak to their base. And they understand that stoking white grievance is a great way to mobilize opposition and to bring backlash. And because honestly, and I'll try to conclude with this, every single time that Black people in America have made progress, or at least have appeared to make progress, there has been vocal opposition to try to stop that progress and take us a step back.
Come on, man. That is so true.
And so that's what this is about. Last year, people were saying there is a reckoning here because since the murder of Trayvon Martin, we've had the Black Lives Matter movement, and people have been trying to say, pay attention to the systemic ways that Black people are killed by the state. And people had every argument in the world as to why it wasn't happening. George Floyd happens and people say, okay, we get it now. Let's start teaching our children about racism. Let's be more conscious about being anti-racist. And then that's when the critical race theory stuff started intensifying. And they're saying, no, critical race theory. Don't teach critical race theory to my third grader. No one's ever taught critical race theory to a third grader. It just doesn't happen. But even what they're saying is critical race theory is not critical race theory. And so multiple things are happening at the same time. And all of it, the core of it is to try to stop the appearance of progress of Black people in America.
Man, hey, y'all, man, Timothy Welbeck just pretty much just broke it down for you all. Hey, that was the lawyer professor side of him. So, which again,
Indeed.
hey, he's a lawyer, professor, and a
Indeed.
rapper, or
Absolutely.
an artist. Hey, man, look, bro, hey, you definitely inspire me for sure, man. Because I'm like,
Thank you.
it's all about going to the next level. All right,
Hmm.
and brother, hey, you are definitely doing it. Guys, you all need to go and check him out, timothywelbeck.com. Go and check out his website. All right. And as well as follow him on Instagram there. Okay. He's very
Excellent.
active on there. Also, and support his music because he's doing some great things. And yes, you could be educated as well
Yeah.
and do some of these other things, to add to your personality, to your persona. So, because again,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being educated out there. All right. I mean,
Absolutely. And I just want to thank you too for your
mhm,
support. Like I said, we met in 2005, and you've been playing my music
right.
and supporting me publicly and privately in that time period. And I
Amen.
appreciate it. And I also just appreciate what you're doing because there are not enough people doing this, creating space and some platforms to talk about
Thank
these
you.
types of issues, especially from the lens of the faith, and still talking about things that particularly deal with Black people. A lot of people don't do that. Like you might maybe get one, you might get people who talk about Black issues, you might get people who might talk about the faith, you might get people who might play Christian music, but usually they're not all three simultaneously. So you're doing that, and I just wanted to commend you for it. And you found new ways to do it. Like this technology is really great to see too. So
Yes, it is. Hey, well, look, thank you, to God be the glory. Again, like I say, man, you inspire me as well. And again, man, keep going to the next level. And hopefully, what real quick, what would you like to say to an artist or an aspiring professor or even an aspiring lawyer or so? Man, what words
oh,
of wisdom can you give them?
so I think my advice to each of them would be the same. They would just the particular advice would be different, but the advice would be you want to be the best you that you can be. And you want to do your job to the best of your ability. You want to fill your space and your full, unique, authentic self. And so, what I mean as an artist, hone your craft, study people who came before you, see what they did, learn from them, and synthesize them. Because what you will begin to see is you will hear some of your voice in the people that you enjoy listening to, but you will
Yes.
also realize that you're not the first person to conceive of some of these ideas either. So you can learn from the mistakes and the successes of other people if you study your craft and practice, 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 and develop your own voice, your own sound, and then present it with excellence. Just really briefly, like as it relates to like rap right now, so people are still talking about the verses between the Locks and the Dipset. And
Yeah.
so like like we can talk all day about how the Locks, I think their discography has bigger hits, so to speak,
Mhm.
but the Locks showed a difference in their level of professionalism. They
Yes.
they knew their lyrics, they performed their lyrics well, they had showmanship between the three of them, they had great chemistry with their DJ, they knew what songs to play when. That's a level of professionalism that not only has it help to solidify their reputation in some people's eyes, but it's given them more opportunities too. So I'd say that in terms of being a professor, being a lawyer, I'd say the same thing. You want to be excellent at what you do. So you want to put in the work that it takes to be excellent, to set yourself apart. There's no substitute for doing the work. And a lot of times that work is done in the dark, and you might feel like you're overlooked or that you're toiling in obscurity, but be faithful because over time, not only will God reward your faithfulness, but beyond that, excellence. I tell my students all the time, um, excellence is forged over time. So
Yes.
you continue deliberately practicing and doing the work that it takes to be good, and you will get to excellent. And so that's what I would say to that. I mean, like specifically as it relates to law school, I mean, what I tell people is that start where you are, do be the best student that you can because your GPA is your reputation going to eat to the next level. It shows how you have done as a student. And then you'll have to take standardized tests along the way, first the SAT, then the LSAT, and then later the bar. Those things take concentrated practice, learning strategies and skills as it relates to that. Um, I mean, I could give more specific. I might have to come back to give you specific.
Hey,
to give you specific advice about law school. I do have specific advice that I often give, especially young Black attorneys or aspiring attorneys and things like that. As it relates to a professor and things like that, again, you want to read the literature, people who've come before you, see what they have said, what insights that they have on the world. The ancestors were so wise. And have conveyed so much information to us. Some of them are formal scholars, like a W.E.B. Du Bois or Carter G. Woodson, and then some are practitioners like Ida B. Wells, Barnett, or Malcolm X, like we talked about earlier. So you want to look at some of these scholars in your field, learn from them, and see what new insights you can bring. Look at it like a conversation. And people have been having a conversation for centuries or decades. Listen to what has been said, and then learn what you can contribute to the conversation. It's just like when you're sitting down with your elders. Like, if I'm sitting down in a room with my parents or my grandparents when they were alive, like I listen first. Right. And then when there's an opportunity, I insert myself. And so like I say, look at it kind of like that. If you want to be a professor, because that's really what scholarship is. Like you're reading and studying what other people are doing. You might do your own research later on, and then you start writing and publishing, teaching and speaking. Right. But you're participating in the conversation. The literature is a conversation. It's just written down. So
man, and look, we could definitely have to have you back on, even on some of the other shows, because again, I could see folks bringing you into as a guest speaker or so, and you going all across the world and all, because again, they need to see this positive image of of a Black man that's doing some great things. So and again, you have all these other different personalities connected towards you, which is like, hey, it can be done. You know what I'm saying? So
I like saying what happens when your favorite lawyer and your favorite rapper are the same person.
Oh man, come on, bro. Come on, man. Also, hey guys, again, Timothy Welbeck. All right, please go and check him out, timothywelbeck.com, as well as go and follow him on Instagram and other social media platforms right there at Timothy Welbeck. Okay. Again, we want to thank you so much for coming on here on Sound Sessions here. Man, again, this won't be the last, because I definitely want to see you go to the next level. God bless you and your family. And okay, this is going to wrap it up for this segment of Sound Sessions. Hey, make sure you all be safe out there. Remember, you matter in the kingdom of God, so don't compare yourself or your ministry to anyone else out there. Do what God's called you to do. You'll be just fine. All right. All right. Be blessed. Peace.